welcome to Drilling One-on-One Learning Bite with me, Hendrik Suryadi. In this episode, you will learn about two topics: how oil and gas being formed and how to find where the oil and gas are possibly located inside the earth. Oil and gas are commonly called fossil fuel because it is formed from the living organism that dead or died, were buried hundreds of million years ago. Over time, due to the sedimentation process, they were covered by layers of silt and sand, and over a million years, it got buried deeper and deeper as sedimentation layers increase. And these layers give a pressure and heat to the supporting the chemical reaction over the time and turning them into oil and gas. So today, we need to drill down through the various layers of rocks to the rock formation that contain those oil and gas deposits. This is very quick summary of how oil and gas being formed. If you're interested to know more details of the process, of the chemical process, you can find many content about this, and then I can recommend one of a good content that you see in the link above. Over time, due to pressure, oil and gas migrated from the source rock, where is this oil and gas being transformed, or we call it being cooked, to the upper layers of the rocks until it traps by some impermeable layers of rock. There are several typical geological structures that are known for trapping this oil and gas. For example, like the anticline shape, or a fault trap structure, a salt dome trap, and a stratigraphic trap like this. So the ability to detect this type of trap location will allow us to find a potential oil and gas reservoir inside the earth. Now we will talk about on how we find the potential location for an oil and gas reservoir. We need to know this before we start bringing a big equipment to drill a hole to the ground, right? The first method is the easiest one, which is by oil shipping to the surface. When the oil ships to surface, you will see some evidence in the surface. So as mentioned before, oil and gas will move to surface because of the pressure. And if the oil continues find the path through a permeable rock until the surface, then the oil will appear in an oil slick at the sea, or a lake, or an oil ponds in the land. And as we can see this, we can suspect that there will be an oil and gas reservoir underneath it. We also use the study of the rocks, layers, formation through geology and geochemistry. This will help us to understand the Earth's structure, the history, the process, etc. By looking at on how the rock structure appearance at the surface, geologists will be able to predict on how the Earth structure underneath and identify those possible or potential oil and gas traps. The next method is by measuring some of the Earth's properties, such as gravity, magnetic force around a specific area. So we can put the sensor, gravity sensor, magnetic sensor into the plane or a boat, and then doing a survey to identify anomalies due to those structural shapes variation. And by looking at those record or the measurement of those properties, then we can predict the potential shapes of the structure underneath the earth. The other survey that gives the most accurate measurement that we have today is a seismic, which is sending a sound wave to the earth layers and record the time required to reach back to the recorder. So the sound wave transmitted from wherever we producing the sound. So in the sea, the sound is created using an air gun from the boat and recorded by hydrophones. When if it's in the land, then it's created by a vibrator truck and recorded with some recorder that we put into a certain distance. And the measured result will show the rock structure, for example, like this, and help the geologist indicating the potential location of oil and gas reservoir. I hope now you know how oil and gas are formed and how we identify the potential location of oil and gas reservoir before we start bringing the drilling rig and other heavy equipment to drill the well. So in the next learning bite, we will discuss on various different rock types and the properties that we need to know before we actually start drilling the well. So see you again in the next episode and stay in touch.